Hey guys, this is Joel from the Castle Pokemon Gym. I am finally back. Our store had 3 weekends in a row of 4-day shows. So I've been in my house a total of about 4 days in the last 3+ weeks. I've tried to get this one together after Gen Con and just didn't have time to finish it, so here we finally are. I mentioned on WordPress, I believe, that I was bringing a deck that is fun to play, and it's not just fun, it's quite good actually, but is based on a Pokemon that I hate. Or hate may be a bit strong, so we'll go with dislike. Not the Pokemon's fault, but more its presentation. Kind of like a nice steak brought to you by a waiter with open sores and a runny nose, if you follow. But I'm talking about Palafin. And I'm not at all judgmental of the design, even though it kind of looks like Sporticus from Lazy Town. Or the fact that the other forms are mostly just dolphins with a spot. But I didn't care for the way you obtained him in the Scarlet Violet game. Let's see if I got this straight. You had to have Finizen at level 37, then you had to go online into the Union Circle with a friend, not in a group you could get paired up with, but someone else you know. Then while in Union Circle, you had to level him up and maybe face to the northwest on a Wednesday between 2 and 2:15 p.m. Maybe not the last part, but when you're almost 50 living in the mountains of Southwest Virginia and your kids are grown and gone, it would be easier to go outside and find a bear to wrestle than someone who both has the game and is available to go online and do all of that. So my Pokédex was one Pokemon away from completion for about 6 to 7 months until I got someone to trade with me at a show one weekend. Not the way to endear a Pokemon to me. That said, I like all the other quirky stuff about the character in the video game and the TCG, which we should go ahead and get into now. Palafin EX is a Stage 1, kinda, a water type with a massive 340 HP. He has the ability Hero Spirit, which I'll explain in a moment. He is sporting one attack called Giga Impact, which does 250 damage, with the caveat of not being able to attack on the next turn, which is, of course, an attack condition that is easily reset by getting that Pokemon out of the active position. Palafin is weak to lightning, has a 2 energy retreat cost, which is probably the card's biggest handicap, which you'll see as we get into the deck. But back to the ability, Hero Spirit states that Palafin EX can only come into play via the regular Palafin's ability, 0 to Hero. 0 to Hero states that if Palafin is active and is switched to the bench, you may search your deck for the EX and swap it with this card. So in short, evolve to Palafin, wherever it doesn't matter, get him active, then retreat or switch him, at which point he becomes the EX. The EX has to be in the deck, not in your hand, and then send the regular Palafin back into the deck. It seems like a lot, but it's not really, as I'll show you in a few moments. And that's Palafin. It's not really that complicated, you just have to have a build that makes all of that happen as consistently as possible. So here's the list, and looking at the list, you'll see that Palafin EX's main partner in crime is the Dunsparce line. And I say the line because both the basic and the evolution are important here. Dunsparce is 60 HP, it has attacks I've never used, we're not going into those, but it does have free retreat, which is why I use this one. His evolution, the Dunsparce, is our recyclable draw power. Runaway draw lets you draw 3, then the whole line shuffles back into the deck. The draw is good, but equally important is that when you do this from the active spot, it allows you to promote a new Pokemon, which could be the Palafin that you need to evolve, or the EX when you need his attack reset. Looking through the items, you can see there are Palafins, Nest Ball, Ultra Ball. So after you shuffle him in, you can just go get the basic again to evolve on the next turn. And to complement the Ultra Balls, I use the A-Spec Hyper Aroma to get 3 Stage 1s out at one time. And the Hyper Aroma is an item that is searchable with Irida. So hopefully you're starting to see how everything kind of works together here. There is the problem of ending up with the EX in your hand, and that is addressed first with Iono, to just shuffle them back in. Or you can also use Perrin. Perrin lets you send any 2 Pokemon, including the EX, into the deck, and then get out any other 2. Right next to Perrin on the list, you'll also see the new supporter, Kieran. Kieran presents 2 options that are both nice here. First, he provides another way to switch Palafin to evolve or Palafin EX to attack again. His second option is to give your Palafin EX an extra 30 damage against Vs or EXs, which raises Giga Impact from the already strong 250 damage to 280. which allows one hits on the V-stars and almost all of the big basic Vs and EXs. And while we're back on the attack, 250 for 1 energy is ridiculously good. I agree with the creators in Japan on capping it there, as much more might be broken or become so in the future depending on what cards are coming down the line. I think 250 seems like a pretty good balance. And that also leads us back to the Pokemon section of the list, where I'm sure you've already noticed the little 30 HP Elekid sitting there. Elekid has 2 important things. He has free retreat to synergize with everything else in the deck, and he has a free attack called Crackling Shot, which can shoot 30 damage anywhere, allowing you to finish off something if 250 damage missed them earlier. So he provides a neat little surprise trick there in some games. I threw in a copy of Choice Belt, which doesn't get used a lot, but it is nice to have for those Giratina and Arceus V-Star matches. I guess the last thing to point out here is the relatively low energy count of 6. Getting them in hand is not always easy. So I've got 2 Earthen Vessels, which again are searchable with Irida, so that mitigates that for the most part. You can also see the 1 town store and the 2 rescue boards to help with the switching. And that's about it. Let's get into some games to illustrate everything I've just blown over here. Because as I've said before, it does seem like a lot, but it really is not as complicated as it seems. So I picked this first match because there is something I kind of neglected to point out. And talking about the deck is just how fast Palafin can be. You really are just getting to a stage 1, getting 1 energy attached, and then you can hit for 250, which is kind of crazy. You can see I got a pretty standard start here. I'm going to Ultra Ball away one of the Palafin EX. Just want to double check and make sure there's still another one in the deck, because you do only play 3. Going to get out another Dunsparce. And put down that Manaphy because you see Greninja there. I'm assuming this is against Chinpow. Just want to protect them. They're going to whiff on this Heavy Ball. This was kind of a whole turn of whiffs. They conceal cards, draw 2, don't get anything, they go for a Pokegear, don't get anything off of that, so just attach and pass. And that's going to open up the chance for me to end the game, which we will show you how you do that. I'm going to evolve to this Dunsparce on the bench. I'm going to attach to the Finizen. Go ahead and use Irida. We'll get a Palafin and then a switch. It's pretty easy from here. You just evolve to the Palafin. Then we're going to switch him back, and that will allow us to go ahead and swap him to the Palafin EX with 0 to Hero. I could have promoted just the free retreat one, but I went ahead and put the Dunsparce up. We're going to send him back into the deck with his ability. Re-promote the Palafin EX. We'll bench the other Dunsparce, doesn't really matter. Then we will get impact for 250. And that ends the game, and that would have ended it against any of the basic EXs or anything. It's just an illustration of how fast this deck can attack. This second match is going to be against a Raging Bolt EX deck. They do go first, just kind of get guys down, don't really get much else started. I'm going to go ahead and use Perrin, send in 2 Pokemon. I probably should have got a Dunsparce. I went ahead and got 2 Dunsparce here. I get kind of bailed out here in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and get all of the basics that I'll need for the game down. I'm going to hold on to that energy in case anybody gets knocked out. On their turn, they go for an Ogerpon play, don't get it, can't hit the energy, so they go ahead and Iono and kind of bail me back out. So they end up just burst roaring to, I guess, get ready for the next hand. Puts me in a spot where I can knock out that Raging Bolt. I'm going to evolve to the Dunsparce. I'm going to go ahead and get another Finizen down. Going to get a Palafin and then a Hyper Aroma with Irida. So we will evolve the active to the regular Palafin. Go ahead and switch to the Dunsparce, activate the 0 to Hero, and go ahead and get a Palafin EX into play. Now just missing the energy. Going to go ahead and use Hyper Aroma. I'm going to get the Dunsparce and 2 more Palafin down. A pretty amazing turn as far as setup goes. We've got 2 to Dunsparce. I'm going to go ahead and evolve these other 2 Finizen to Palafin. I'm going to run away, draw. All I need to do is hit an energy, and I don't. I'm going to attach the belt go ahead and put town store into play, and I'm going to go ahead and get a rescue board with that because I need to hit energy, so I'm just going to try to thin a little bit. We'll put that rescue board on the Palafin, runaway draw, miss the energy, which kind of stinks. So we'll send up a Palafin. I still have not retreated yet. I'm going to use a buddy Palafin. Go ahead and get 2 Dunsparce back down. Then I don't think I have any more because I've got the one in my hand, but we'll go ahead and double check the 0 to hero. There is no Palafin EX to get there. I'm going to end my turn just hoping that at 340 that they cannot pull off the knockout. And unfortunately, much to my surprise, they were able to get the 5 energies down, and they blow up my 340 HP Palafin EX. One of the things you hope they can't do is that they cannot repeat 350 damage, but so many times. I go ahead and send up a Palafin. I'm going to use a Palafin to get out an Elekid. I'm going to use Perrin to send in a Palafin EX and get 2 Dunsparce back out. Gotta actually get that Palafin back in so I can evolve. So then we will retreat the regular Palafin, send up the Dunsparce, and we will 0 to hero. Got my guys in the wrong order there. 2 Palafin EX, then we will run away draw. Didn't miss the energy that time. Got 2 of them. We'll promote our Palafin EX attached there. We'll go ahead and nest ball and get a Dunsparce back down. You want to keep a cycle of these guys so you can keep on being able to draw. And use the other Dunsparce. Got another Palafin, so I can evolve there. I'm going to Ultra Ball away the Kieran and the Irida, go and get another Dunsparce, so I've got that cycle ready to go again on the next turn. We'll take the knockout here, have to see what we get there in our prizes. There's the 250 Giga Impact, and from the prizes, get the other Palafin EX, which is also very important because it's really playing with the 1 right now. They've already knocked out 1. On their turn, they do a lot of digging and drawing. They get just 4 energies down and are only able to hit me for 280, so he does body that hit. Back to my turn. I can't attack with the active Palafin, so I'm going to switch to Elekid for now. I'm going to attach to the second Palafin, and I'm going to Iono away that big hand. That should hurt their chances of being able to hit that 350 again. Got a Dunsparce there. We'll go ahead and, since I have the switch in hand, retreat this Elekid, get to the Palafin. And important to point out the order of this, you do want to switch when you have a Palafin EX in your deck, and go ahead and do that first so you don't draw him back into your hand after putting him back in. So we 0 to hero, get him evolved, then you want to use the Dunsparce, and draw 3 with that. Have a clean Palafin EX. I'm going to use Palafin, go ahead and get back one of those Dunsparce. And we will Giga Impact again for 250 and take the second knockout. Off of that, we will get Rescue Board and Ultra Ball. On the turn before, they could not get Grass Energy in their hand to get that extra damage. This turn, they could not hit Sada, so they just Burst Roar to draw, and that's pretty much going to be the game. I've attached the Rescue Board so I can retreat my active Palafin, because he can't attack, and just come up with the damaged one. And hit for 250 one more time and take the last knockout and the last 2 prize cards. I've been getting paired up a lot with Raging Bolt lately. I don't know, with Worlds almost here, if that is because players are trying to work out that list, or if they just know that Worlds is just going to be Charizard, Gardevoir, and Chinpao and just don't want to telegraph that, or just want to be playing something else at the moment. Maybe it's none of the above, maybe that's just how things work out online. But that's the Palafin deck. I think the only immediate change I would make right now is the choice belt. I think the better choice would actually be either a second Stadium, a third Rescue Board, or a third Earthen Vessel. I think the case for each is pretty equal, so that is really a preference call. My first instinct is to go with the Earthen Vessel, just to make it less likely to miss that energy. The game I showcased was almost a runaway, and I think it surely would have been if if I had not missed that first early energy. So I don't know. I don't think people have looked at this deck a lot and maybe deciding there's too much going on, but it plays well for me and it is consistent. And I think that is the most important factor for anything in the competitive format. You can never control what you match up against, but if you are in control of what's happening on your side of the table, things usually go your way. I appreciate your patience in waiting for me to get another video up. This was just an overwhelming month. As always, thank you for watching and support the channel in any way that you see fit. I'll see you next Monday with another unique deck. Until then, be not afraid. Later.